campaign?
You'll be seeing very soon. You don't understand. I understand well. You don't understand, and you never have understood.
Is this election going to be a repeat of 2016?
I think so. I think we'll do better than 2016. We're way ahead of where we were in 2016. The Democrat-run states are not, but they're not going to affect our numbers very much. I think they're going to open up on November 4th. They'll be opening up on November 4th. And by the way, the fact that Kristen Welker is, a dyed-in-the-wool, radical left Democrat or whatever she is, okay, then ask, why are you defending her? Then ask her, why did she delete her account? Would you please have her put her account back? And you know what? It's not going to affect, I know you want to stick up. It's not going to affect me. I'm going to be there. But, I told you about the last one, and I was right.
If you notice, last time, according to Chris Wallace, he interrupted the president and me 148 times. I think that's right. He interrupted Mike. The president interrupted Chris Wallace and me 148 times.
Really in great shape.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. So proud of you.
Chief of Staff said today that there'll be a lawsuit filed on Section 230 on the tech companies.
Who said that?
Mark Meadows said that as soon as today there could be a lawsuit filed.
Well, they've been given great protection, and when they take down people like Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk is a terrific person, and I just heard that he was taken down. And how can you take down Charlie Kirk? He's mainstream, conservative, but solid as a rock. He represents a point of view, and he's putting up something from the New York Post, which is a respected newspaper. I'll tell you what, the biggest winner in this whole thing is a newspaper called the New York Post, the oldest paper in our country. So what they have done is I'm very proud of them.
Are you filing a lawsuit, or is the campaign filing
You'll be seeing very soon. I'm doing this. What am I doing to prepare? I'm doing this. I've done very well in debates, and you do what you do. You just do what you do. The last debate I had 2-on-1. I usually have 2-on-1 at least, and I did well on the last debate, and we did well with Savannah Guthrie based on reports. But all you can do is look. You go around. We do interviews with you. This is like, I call this debate prep. This is actually tougher than a debate, if you want to know the truth.
Will you do the testing before the debate, and will you authorize will you do the testing before the debate, and will you yes, the COVID testing, and will you authorize
I would have no problem with it. I'm not only am I free, positive, or whatever, what would you call it? I'm totally free, right? Not only am I free, I'm immune, they say.
We want to know if you followed the rules.
I know, but why is it so important to you? Look at the dedication. Yeah, my doctors have already given it. My doctors have given more information than has been given on any human being in the history of the world. Go ahead.
Campaign strategy seems to be to call Biden a criminal. Why is that?
He is a criminal. He's a criminal. He got caught. Read his laptop. And you know who's a criminal? You're a criminal for not reporting it. You are a criminal for not reporting it. Let me tell you something. Joe Biden is a criminal, and he's been a criminal for a long time. And you're a criminal in the media for not reporting it. Good luck, everybody. Have a good time.
Biden does have a problem here, by the way. I mean, I have to say, $50,000 a month for Hunter Biden, clearly to be selling influence, because otherwise no one would ever pay him that kind of money for a company that, frankly, was pretty corrupt and has been before and has been since under
And is that Joe Biden's fault or problem?
No, but it's hard to imagine Joe Biden wasn't aware of it. And I think that I expect that President Obama, if he had known about the reality of this situation, would have probably told Biden, get rid of this. Like, we shouldn't have your son working in this situation. That would have cost him something.
You know what? Did I make a mistake? Well, maybe in the grand scheme of things, yeah. You know what? Did I make a mistake? Well, maybe in the grand scheme of things, yeah.
You know what? Did I make a mistake? Well, maybe in the grand scheme of things, yeah. You know what? Did I make a mistake? Well, maybe in the grand scheme of things, yeah.
The kind of material that I found on this, the photograph part of this, which is about 28,000 photos. So it took a while to find it. Well, just because it takes a long time. What I found were, and Mr. Carrick, what we found were a number of photographs that troubled us greatly. And they troubled us greatly because they were photographs of underage girls. And the underage girls were dressed in a very provocative way, very little bikinis and poses that were sexually provocative. And that was troubling in and of itself. But then there was one that was straight out and out child pornography. Just straight, I mean, I guess Potter Stewart once described pornography as, you can't define it, but you know it when you see it. Well, you know this when you see it. We also knew what our obligations were because Bernie had been policeman and I had been an assistant U.S. attorney, associate attorney general, and mayor. As a public official, had I seen that, I'd have to report it. I'd be a mandatory reporter, as are medical people. When you see child pornography, or you see evidence that we also saw in the text messages and emails of an unsafe environment for the children.
And I've got one more question. Otherwise, I'll get a suntan.
Black Lives Matter on Fifth Avenue. Do you agree with that? Or
No, Black Lives Matter is a Marxist organization run by 3 avowed Marxists. Go check. Black Lives Matter has been planning to destroy the police for 3 years. They've finally gotten stupid Democrat mayors to agree with them. Please remember that all the lawlessness is happening in Democrat cities, run by Democrats, sometimes for 40, 50, and 100 years. There hasn't been a Republican mayor there in forever, except New York, and it was me, and I brought crime down 65%, and Bloomberg got it up to 75%, and right now murder is up 58% under the regressive Democrat mayor, who's typical of Democrat mayors all over the country. They are a disaster. They're a danger to their people. Gotta go. Gotta go. I'm sorry.
Very, very sensitive one. There's a text message to his father in which he says the following, and he's discussing his sister-in-law, who for quite some time was his lover. And he says, she told my therapist that I was sexually inappropriate. This would be with a unnamed 14-year-old girl. When she says that I FaceTime naked with the unnamed 14-year-old girl, and the reason I can't have her out to see me is because I'll walk around naked smoking crack, talking tom girls on FaceTime. When she was pressed, she said that the unnamed 14-year-old girl never said anything like that, but the bottom line is that I created and caused a very unsafe environment for the kids. This is supported by numerous pictures of underage girls.
So, Mr. Mayor, that's dynamite stuff, and I've seen it.
I turned it over to the.
You turned it over to the Delaware State Police, correct?
Yes, yesterday. Bernie Carrick and I turned it over to the Delaware State Police because we're very uncomfortable with this. So we're very uncomfortable with the fact that these underage girls were not protected.
So here's the deal. Hunter Biden, let's face it, he's never going to be elected to anything, and he'll probably wind up in jail someday for something. Who knows? But I'm more concerned about the vice president because he's the one who's running. Right, I see that. But you know what I don't see, Mr.
This was sent to the vice president.
Here's the deal. And look, I want to be clear here.
Sounds like him.
Yeah, but you know what is not there?
Sent to him. What did he do about it?
Exactly.
What did he do about it?
Well,
for 3 years.
Mr. Mayor, the only thing is, in that, hold on a second.
No action with these politicians. Why didn't he get it done? That's what I'm going to do when I become president. You were vice president along with Obama as your president, your leader, for 8 years. Why didn't you get it done? You had 8 years to get it done. Now you're saying you're going to get it done because you're all talk and no action, Jim.
We got a lot of it done. We released 38,000. We got 38,000 prisoners left from the.
You got nothing done.
38,000 prisoners were released from federal prison. There were over 1,000 people who were given clemency. In fact, we're the ones that put in the legislation saying we could look at pattern and practice of police departments and what they were doing, how they were conducting themselves. I could go on, but we began the process. We began the process. We lost an election. That's why I'm running to win back that election and change his terrible policy.
I just asked one question. Why didn't you do it in the 8 years, a short time ago? Why didn't you do it? You just said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. You put tens of thousands of mostly black young men in prison. Now you're saying you're going to undo that. Why didn't you get it done? You had 8 years with Obama. You know why, Joe? Because you're all talk and no action.
All right, Vice President Biden, and then we're going to move on to the next section.
We had a Republican Congress. That's the answer.
Well, you got to talk them into it, Joe. Sometimes
all right.
You got to talk them into it.
We're going to move on to our next section,
like I did with criminal justice reform. I had to talk Democrats into it.
Gentlemen?
You didn't ask Joe Biden whether or not he denounces Antifa.
Let me ask you about QAnon. It is this theory that Democrats are a satanic pedophile ring and that you are the savior of that. Now, can you just once and for all state that that is completely not true and that disavow QAnon in its entirety?
I know nothing about QAnon.
I just told you.
I know very little. You told me, but what you tell me doesn't necessarily make it fact. I hate to say that. I know nothing about it. I do know they are very much against pedophilia. They fight it very hard, but I know nothing about it.
They believe it is a satanic cult run by the deep
state. I'll tell you what I do know about. I know about Antifa, and I know about the radical left, and I know how violent they are and how vicious they are.
Do you have any remaining symptoms from COVID?
Nothing whatsoever. I'm great. I feel good.
Presidential debate number 2 had its terse moments, including this exchange about the New York Post report alleging former Vice President Joe Biden's son, Hunter, profited by arranging a secret meeting with his father and a Ukrainian energy company that was paying Hunter Biden.
I have not taken a penny from any foreign source ever in my life.
The horrible emails of the kind of money that you were raking in, you and your family. And, Joe, you were vice president.
There's something wrong with him if you don't act on these pictures. I mean, I'm beyond angry about this. I'm totally
you and Bernie Kerik. You and Bernie Kerik not only reviewed this, you brought in a couple of top prosecutors.
Well, I got so angry about it. I said, look, I don't want to. First of all, I'm not an expert on this. I was, a federal lawyer before all this pedophilia and child porn, all this stuff came up. So I'm not an expert on what the exact legal definition is. I am an expert on what I can react to, and I said, this is disgusting. So I called up and asked for the 2 best experts I could find, and a DA, a former district attorney, very well respected, former head of the New York District Attorneys Association. I asked all 3 of them to just look. I didn't even tell them what it was. I said, look at this. What would you do with this if you were me? They thought it was New York at first. They said I'd bring it right to the DA's office, except, Vance is a. Well, I won't tell you what they said about Vance. Basically, he can't be trusted. I said, well, no, it's Delaware. Well, they said, well, boy, you're really in a hot spot. I mean, Delaware is owned by Biden. You're going to walk into the lion's den. I said, I don't give a. I'll walk into the lion's den. But then I talked it. You remember? I talked it over with you, and Bernie and I drove down there, packaged up all the garbage that we had, and stuck it on their desk. And then said, this is your job, guys. I don't have a badge. I know what I would do if I had a badge.
But that was, we got about 2 minutes left. Mayor, we got 2 minutes left. You left that on Monday because you went down immediately, like you said you had to. You went Monday. They said the Attorney General, completely owned by Biden, turned it over to the FBI, probably Monday. That's when they told the Delaware paper. In a minute, where do you think this thing stands, and how could it just be sitting in the memory hole of the FBI?
Well, the FBI then announced for the first time in a year of having this that, in fact, the hard drive is accurate, and they're using it for a money laundering investigation, which, of course, could take 3 years. I mean, I don't trust that either. They now acknowledge that they have it. But they've had it for a year and done nothing to protect these kids or to pursue the very serious allegations of crime about Joe Biden. and they say it's a money laundering allegation. Well, they take 3 years for a money laundering allegation. And it's really shocking that I've got to be the one that kicks them in the backside, and they finally acknowledge that they have it. But they've taken no action, as far as I know, to investigate the allegations against the kid or the other allegations about Biden, which are current, like his partnership with the Chinese communists. I mean, we're going to put a guy in the White House that's a partner with the Chinese communists? Are we out of our minds? And our FBI is going to be responsible for having had that for 10 months and never investigating it? And by the way, it's true. It's true. They can call me all the names they want. It's true.
They can call me all the names they want. It's true. That is the sound of a patriot defending his country. I like that he says, I'm not an expert, essentially what he's saying, but I am human. So when I see evidence of pedophilia, when I see evidence of human trafficking, it hurts me and I want to do something about it. The juxtaposition there is that the FBI has had this for a year and has done nothing. And just think about the way the FBI reacts in inconsistent ways. And it sort of mirrors the MSM, doesn't it? When you have story after story of far leftists literally assassinating people in the streets. It's not covered. It's not really looked into. It's not investigated. We're just going to keep saying the white nationalists are the most dangerous, and we'll just keep repeating that until everybody believes it. And we'll ignore all of the evidence to the counterpoint. And the FBI is very similar. Oh, it's a noose in a NASCAR garage. We'll scramble 15 agents out there this afternoon. We'll have a thorough investigation. We'll get the name of every person that stepped in that garage for a year and a half. We'll get this down pat. I mean, they throw everything they can at it. Show them a plethora, an overabundance of evidence that one of the two main party candidates for president of the United States is deeply financially intertwined with the primary rival of ours on the world stage. Put it off to the side, and maybe we'll get to it eventually. We've got Russia to investigate after all. And this is what they do. They're actually investigating Rudy Giuliani at this point. So this is where we are now. We are in Stasi territory. We're in Nazi territory. We're in Soviet propaganda territory. Not even propaganda, Soviet law and order here, right? This is the Soviet law and order. It's if it benefits the people that are in control, the deep state, the permanent bureaucratic state, if it benefits them, it gets swept under the rug. Yeah, we'll take a look at it. The investigation is ongoing. We cannot comment right now on ongoing investigation. That's what happens if it benefits them. If it is, say, a honeypot operation that they're running, trying to trick less intelligent people into pretending to kidnap the governor, well, they are on that like white on rice. Truly despicable, and not a coincidence that the mainstream media and the spy state share this particular attribute.
Radical left has taken over the Democratic Party, and Joe Biden is marching in lockstep with them. Biden and the far left are promising to crush middle-class families with trillions in new taxes.